Do you like to take your four-legged fur babies with you on vacation? We do. That's why we started Travels with Delaney. But to ensure that we can continue to do it, we're going to provide you with some of the tips we follow when we travel in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure you take time to hit the subscribe button and also the little bell beside of it so you get notified each time we put out a new video. Also, if you want real-time updates, follow us over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under Travels with Delaney. Now on to this week's episode. So, Patty, this week I think we really want to talk about what are some etiquette tips if you're traveling with your pet.
Exactly.
Because we love, obviously, traveling originally with Maddie and then Delaney and now Truman.
Mr. Truman, yeah.
But unfortunately, if we as pet owners don't take responsibility for our pets, we're going to lose that privilege.
Exactly.
Businesses are just going to start refusing service to pet owners, and we've already seen that where there are some restaurants that don't anymore, even some campgrounds that are starting to have restrictions on dogs. And so we just feel it's important that we as the actual pet owners take responsibility so that we can ensure that all of us get to travel with our four-legged friends.
Yeah, which we love to do, don't we?
So Patty, what is first on our list of things that we as pet owners should be doing?
Well, you need to have a leash that is 6 feet
or less typically is what most campground rules say.
They don't like it longer. We used to have the retractable kind. We just went to the kind that's not retractable just because we like it better.
Right.
But you can get them 6 feet, and it's just easier to contain because you don't have them so far out. Like some of the leashes go 9 feet.
Absolutely.
It's just easier to keep them with you and safe, and that way they're not getting into things they shouldn't be, or their safety and things like that. So
yeah, because even if your pet is under voice control, there's always the possibility that they're still an animal and they could take off. And so even when we've had the opportunity, I've been very nervous to allow Delaney, when we were hiking out in the Tetons, they actually said it was okay to hike without a leash as long as they were under voice control.
And she saw the other dogs, and you could kind of tell she wanted to be off, and so we let her off. But then the trail went right along a stream. And man, she took off toward that stream, and we were a little nervous. So she got put back on the leash when we were near the stream. But
definitely in campgrounds, we need to make sure we keep our pets, or if we're in town or places like that. And understand, we as pet owners love our pets, but not everybody in the world loves pets. And sometimes they're even downright afraid of dogs. And so it can be very scary for them, and we just really want to respect them.
Exactly.
So definitely keeping them on a leash is very important. I would say the second big thing that people expect out of us as pet owners is that we clean up after our pets.
Right.
In fact, I'm always appalled when I'm walking along and step in somebody else's pet's stuff. Yeah, we'll just keep it clean. And so we always just make sure we carry one of these little containers that have the cleanup bags. Now, a lot of parks will actually have these available to you, and that's really nice when they do that, and the trash cans.
And often this summer, Truman and I picked up others. We were walking, and Truman's like, let's pick that up, Mom. So we did.
Yeah, we will periodically help clean up. So just make sure we're cleaning up after our pets so people aren't disgusted by it. And maybe we can continue to bring our pets to
the
parks and places.
Restaurants and other campgrounds and so forth.
Absolutely. All right, what's a third rule that we should kind of follow?
I think we should follow that we keep them safe in the designated areas where they're supposed to be, because sometimes, like we had our niece and nephew when they were younger, they want to go to the playground, and it would say pets weren't allowed there, so we didn't take Delaney or Maddie at the time into the playground. We took them where they could go, just because we wanted to respect that they didn't want any dogs in that area. So we always try to do that and look for those signs about where you can take your dog and where you can't take your dog, and just because that's the rule. That's what we want to do.
Absolutely. I mean, it really just goes back to following the rules. When it's posted, no pets allowed, we just don't take our pet there. We respect the rules. And I think if more pet owners do that, then more places will welcome us with our four-legged friends.
Well, we've been in places before, too, where it says they're not allowed, but then someone will be there that's actually running the place and say, oh, they can come in. As long as you clean up after them. We're like, all right. Or as long as you carry them. And we always had little dogs, so that always works for us. So, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just, and playgrounds are usually an area where they ask you not bring dogs. And it's primarily for sanitary purposes for the children.
Right.
I can't argue with that.
No.
So, all right. Another tip that we have for making sure we're still welcome in campgrounds is do not leave your pets unattended outside. I think that's the key. A lot of times people get confused when it says don't leave your
Right.
pets unattended. Now, we do always clarify at campgrounds, but what they're primarily, most campgrounds are referring to is people who would just tie up their dog and leave them alone and take off. Now, I don't know that that occurs that often.
I don't see
maybe
that very
maybe some of
often.
our
Yeah.
subscribers will tell us that they've seen it more often than we have.
Yeah, I haven't.
But number one, it's just not safe for your animal to leave them tied up like that in a campground. Somebody could come along and let them loose, or
Well, and if it's really hot out, it's not safe for them to be out in that heat.
right.
With, even though they might have water, it's just not a good thing for them. So, yeah, I don't know if we've seen that a lot, but they always say don't leave them unattended, and they mean outside.
Right. Most campgrounds
Right.
mean outside. Now, we have encountered a couple that have told us, no, you can't even leave them in your trailer.
Right.
But most campgrounds, as long as they're not excessively barking,
Right.
You're allowed to leave them in the trailer. And we could do a whole video on how to
Right.
make your pet comfortable inside your trailer when you're going to be gone for periods of time.
Right, because usually, if it's hot out, we make sure the air is on auto and the fan is running. So there's constant hum and some music.
Yeah.
They always have water.
We
their
close all the
food.
blinds so that they can't see,
Right.
things like that. So.
Right.
So yeah, just if you're going to have them outside, make sure somebody's attending to your pets.
Right,
And
exactly.
that tend to keep the campgrounds happy, and so we can still keep coming.
Right, exactly.
And then finally, what's the fifth thing we typically hear from campgrounds?
the barking.
The barking.
Because one time with our Delaney, we were at a campground in Myrtle Beach, and we left just for a little bit to go to the pool. We weren't that far from the pool, and we got a notice that she was barking excessively, and they could hear her outside the trailer. So we had to make sure that from then on that we kept her more contained. She went with us, and but yeah, sometimes that happens.
Right. And I think, and here's the thing, that one I
Yeah,
don't
we
agree
debate
with.
that
It
one,
was
but-
it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and honestly, the kids running up and down the street were louder than Delaney
Well, and there was a
And-
band playing, like a marching band
playing.
type playing.
Yeah, it was really loud. What it actually we found out later was it was a neighbor child right next door
Right.
who was banging on sticks, and part of it was on us. That particular trailer had
Was
curtains,
different, yeah.
and so she was smart. She was able to get her muzzle into the window.
Yep, and look out.
And when she
Yeah.
saw him banging on the sticks,
Right.
it really.
Well, she liked kids. She wanted to play.
Yeah, she just wanted to play.
Right.
So we just made sure to try to respect the neighbors. That actually the rest of that trip we didn't leave her
No,
alone
we didn't.
at all.
No.
But I think really the key is outside. And here's the thing: I think everybody understands dogs are going to bark just like kids are going to
Well,
cry
it's a
or
dog.
scream.
Yeah.
But I think what really upsets people in campgrounds is when your dog just barks nonstop
Yep.
and you don't attempt. No different than when we get upset in a restaurant and
Right.
the kid's screaming. My sister was great about
Oh,
that
she was
when the
great.
kids were little babies. If they started screaming, she immediately was out of the restaurant to calm them down.
Just to
and bring
get 'em distracted,
Yeah. And
yeah.
we've done that with even Truman this
Yeah.
summer. A couple times he'd start barking at something, and Patty would take him into the trailer, get him calmed down, bring him back out, and he'd be fine. And so
Yeah.
I think that's when the campground has rules that say no excessive
Right.
barking. That's what they're really talking. They understand our dogs are going to bark.
Yeah.
It's just when it goes on
Right.
and on.
And then it like interrupting people's quiet hours and so forth like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
so those would be our 5 tips
Yeah.
so that we as pet owners can continue to enjoy camping
Mm-hmm.
and going on vacation with our fur babies.
Yep, our fur baby.
Now, a few bonus tips for those of you that approach us as pet owners that would help us out is, number 1, before you walk up to a strange dog and
Yes.
pet it, always ask permission first, because here's the thing, even cute small animals may not respond well to strangers.
Right.
And so we highly recommend that you always ask the pet owner first if it's okay to pet. Now, obviously with Truman, Truman loves people and it's no issue. But
sometimes little kids, they come up and they just don't know.
Right.
And if they haven't been shown, and they put their little hands, especially this summer when he was smaller, they wanted to touch his face. And I would always kind of stop them and say, "Now let's touch his back." And then they, just touching back here, because I just didn't want him to get poked in the eye, and 2, he just didn't want to be touched in the face. So, so I was trying to help out some kids, and I was amazed by a lot of kids. They knew to put their top of their hand down near
like
his
this.
muzzle so that he could smell their scent. And then those kids got, lots of loving from him, because then he was able to realize they were good.
Yeah.
Because with the hand up, he thinks he's going to get swatted. just a dog's reaction to the hand up, they're gonna get hurt, right, buddy?
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He gave him kisses.
Gives them lots of kisses. The other thing is, we as a pet owner don't assume that other pet owners
Right.
want their pet to meet Truman.
Right.
And so we try to always ask first if Truman wants to go see another pet, is it okay if Truman
Sure.
meets your pet? And we have had some owners say we prefer not because our dog is aggressive with other dogs, and obviously we don't want Truman to get hurt.
Right, right.
And so I think that's always a good rule of thumb if you're seeing somebody with a pet.
Sure, sure.
Is to ask them that. And then finally, we always ask if it's okay to give another dog a treat, because we're kind of particular about the treats
What
that we
he
give
eats, yeah.
Truman, and so we want to respect other pet owners. So before we would just hand a treat to
Right.
another owner's pet,
Always ask.
we always ask first. And
Right.
many times what we'll do is we'll actually give it to the owner to let them give to,
So you can
to the
decide
dog.
if you want to give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So those are just a few
Yep.
things that we've kind of learned over the years. And again, it just goes back to respect for each other, respect for our fur babies, and really just trying to keep them safe
and
and
healthy.
comfortable and
Yeah,
healthy.
right.
Yeah. And we want to make sure that people out there still accept Truman wherever we go. And when he's not welcome, we respect that
Exactly.
as well.
Our motto is if Truman can't go, we don't go. So,
Absolutely.
So if he can't be in that location, we go somewhere else.
just go someplace
where
else.
He's welcome. So yeah, we don't want to intrude on anybody.
All right.
All righty.
We know this isn't an all-inclusive list, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to add to that down
I'm sure
below
people
in
know
the
more
comment
things,
section.
yes.
And the reason in our prior video on etiquette in campgrounds, the
Right.
things that annoy a lot of campers, that we did not address the pet situations, we knew it was a whole video
Yep.
in and of itself.
Exactly. Just
And
like there's
so-
another whole video about what we do in the trailer with him and how we could set it up. So that we'll do sometime, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, all right. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoy the videos we're producing, you can support us for free on Amazon. Every time you go to make a purchase at Amazon, if you'll visit our shop first before you begin your search, and I'm going to put that link right down here, amazon.com/shop/travels with Delaney. It's always appreciated. It helps us to continue making
Sure.
these videos on a weekly
Definitely.
basis.
Yep.
All right, Patty, I think that's going to do it.
I think so. Don't you think, Truman? We covered everything?
Yep,
Okay.
Truman says we did. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you.
On down the road.
Good night.